I'm Chris Sizelove of Blue Force Gear, and today we've had Jared Reston here with us. Thanks for coming by, brother.
Hey, no problem. Anytime.
We're talking about guns and slings and gear, because that's what we do when we're around each other. We start, you know, screwing around with each other's gear, comparing and contrasting, and swapping war stories. And so this is your belt, like your actual, usage belt. I know both of us are former guys, so I guess you can't call it a duty belt since we're not doing the job.
Yes.
But really some interesting things going on here that I think you can take a lot away from listening to Jared's kind of dissertation on why it is what it is, and what he does with it, and make sure you talk about why you got that Ferrari hanging off your hip too at some point in here. All right, brother. So take it away, Jared, on your chalk belt and how it's set up and why it's set up like that.
So just for my chalk belt, you can set your chalk belt up like this, but you can set up any belt like this. And how I ran them I always ran about 175 inch Molly belt, so I can attach things to it. I'm not a big, huge, thick belt guy. I started out with the padded Black Hawk underbelt.
Those monstrosities like Han Solo.
And moving into it. So then I just came to this with the Blue Force Gear Hanger on a 6390 Safariland RDSO holster with the QLS2 mount. That's just to kind of swap some guns and to do some things.
Well, let's talk that, because I'm passionate about that system. Okay. I know everybody's passionate. I guess it's a marketing term, but a lot of people, I think, take this for granted. Maybe they didn't have a reason to employ it or use it like operationally. But my SOP, like Book of Chris, Chapter 9, pistols, verse 1, is all duty holsters, leg gun holsters, like I call these leg guns. Will have the ability to remove a hot pistol from somebody or from an item, and this thing is holstered. You know what I mean? Because it's like I don't have time to pull it out, clear it, set it down somewhere that the damn thing gets lost. So I think this is a non-negotiable for me. Is all pistols will have this capability, and the Safariland QLS does that amazingly well. It's probably a clue. I know you're a former law enforcement guy, and that's a clue as to why the Blue Force Gear belt hanger is only for the Safariland bolt pattern, or but is purpose built for the Safariland bolt pattern. But this makes my heart.
Well, they are the gold standard.
Yeah.
And like for me, why it's good, if I'm going inside the jail or something and I got to take my pistol off, instead of like taking my pistol out of the holster, putting it in a box or putting it in my trunk, I remove the entire thing.
Yep.
Because
for us, it was casualties.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like dude's casualty, we got to get all shit off him. His gun has got to come off and go in like the bag with his body armor, nods, all that stuff. So same, different application.
And for us too, I always notice when my holster's not there, not when my gun's not in the holster. So if you've done police work long enough, you've left your gun in the line. You're gonna go back to the Sally Port and go get your gun. But so that happens. And then moving around, I just have a Neo Mag little clip here for my gloves. And on the range, I'll throw my hearing protection on there or something like that, just like a little utility pouch. So if you notice, I don't wear a dump pouch or anything. Because what I'd normally found I used my dump pouch for was to hold my gloves, and I never really used them.
Or a water bottle.
Yeah, whatever it is, it was just an addition, and it kind of was like a snag hazard. I know we can roll them up and do stuff, but it was taking space up on my belt for something that I really didn't use. And this kind of little hanger thing kind of took the place of my my dump pouch. Moving around, we have a Marco hanger.
Nice.
That I use on my support side going down. And then just a double mag pouch and a single rifle mag pouch for my emergency reloads. I have the pouches on Ridgeline Defense hangers, which just kind of drops them down that extra, 3/4 of an inch that it'll clear my cummerbund when I have it.
Kicks them out at an angle too.
Yeah, kicks them out at an angle, and I can also twist my mag pouches a little bit on them to give some angle on the mag pouches to come out for that competition speed reloads,
ergonomics is the thing.
And then moving around to the back, we got Blue Force Gear micro med pouch. I always carried a fanny pack also on my belt, but this also gave me kind of that extra without very much space being used on my belt, and it's in the back, so it's not getting. I'm not doing anything with it really anyway. So it's not like a full kit, but it's enough to get me by. And with my another tourniquet and some trauma shears.
if you want to be super pedantic, I know people dig that, but first line gear, second line gear, third line gear. There's probably a fourth line gear now for something. But in my way of thinking was like, hey, everything you're carrying is either life support, you will die or your buddy will die if you can't, manipulate it. And if it's not that, it's just mission support.
Yeah.
And that's all the ancillary stuff. And this is a belt that looks to me like it is extremely life support. It's like, hey, I got, besides the gloves and the Marco, everything else on here is a life support system, i.e. my gun, my emergency mags, my ability to plug a hole or help somebody without, it doesn't look like you're a pouch commando.
Right.
It's like, hey, there's 5 rows of Molly right here. Like, what can I put there to make it look awesome for Instagram?
Well, the whole thing is, I was on the SWAT team for 17 years. You were in for a long time. Oh, those pouches were there.
Yeah.
I got a bin. I can probably, support a small third world army on pouches of stuff I tried and used. And this is just kind of what it boils down to. This is stuff that I've used, or I kind of, I don't need extra what ifs kind of deal. Like, this is like stuff I've seen happen and stuff seen used. So that's kind of how I break it down.
Since it's a chalk belt, and I know Ridgeline does some aerial platform events and classes and things. So since it is a chalk belt, you can still snap into a helicopter with it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like up front and the back. Yep. I preferred, like when I was working, I always liked clicking in the back, or even like when we were riding on our vehicles to places, we would click on the outside of the bear or something like that. So so it wasn't just aerial stuff. It was just, don't fall off a vehicle, hurts probably pretty bad too. So it's like, we can click in, and unclick. And I always like to have my points kind of on my body, like on a Mars system or things. When we were doing bus assaults, I always like to click in the back so I could lean out and get into a window and get an angle for a shot if I needed it and things like that. So it's actually, I like the click in or the hookups on the front and the back because I use them for different jobs.
Great, man. Well, this has been fun. Always fun talking to people that know what they're talking about on subjects that they absolutely know what they're talking about. And I did a dissertation on my own belt. It's good to just, again, compare, contrast, trade notes, and check this stuff out from different points of view to make sure we're hitting all the bases, and it gives you all the capability you could possibly need.